Super Mario 64 is probably one of my favorite facial deformation simulators out on the market.
It's me!
In this game, you play as a flying turtle.
Hello there.
And your main objective is to record the next big viral hit with your best friend. Oh look, they gave Mario a body, that's nice. From my understanding, the premise of your YouTube video is your pal Moppy Bro must rescue a baker lady from the clutches of your father, Bowser. Ultimately, to reach Bowser, you must gradually unlock different segments of Peach's castle by collecting enough in-game currency. Bashing your body against priceless works of art hanging on the wall will take you to a screen where you can select whatever objective you want to complete. Sometimes when you complete an objective, you find out that you did something entirely different than you meant to do, and then you have to start over that objective from the very beginning. Why? After gathering enough pointy boys, you can pay a toll to proceed to different wings of the art museum. Throughout the exhibits, you find fun levels such as Battlefield 64, Plippy Ploppy Port, Spoopy Scary Mansion, Unsanctioned Coal Mines, and Dizzy Desert. And paired with every iconic level comes an equally memorable song. The soundtrack in this game is overall very childish and colorful, but at times it can also be intense and powerful. One thing is for sure, the music is extremely intricate and well thought out. I have a lot to say about the soundtrack for this game, but one song stands out to me both because I enjoy it and because the level it played over was rather memorable in my child eyes. Cool Cool Mountain. This level has so much charm packed in such a small space. You got those jumping snowmen on the bridge, the drafts of air that would lift you up if you fell off at just the right spot. Who could forget the addicting chimney slide area with that secret tunnel? Mwah, beautiful. The devs even threw in small details here and there to further increase the immersion in this level. My favorite are how you slide a bit after changing directions quickly to indicate the slipperiness of the stage, or how if you fall from a great height, you get lodged waist high in the snow instead of normally taking damage. It's that kind of special attention to detail that makes me appreciate the time spent on this particular world, let alone the game in its entirety. I absolutely hated that penguin though. Oh, you lost your child? Well, maybe this wouldn't happen if you were a better parent, Yolanda. Oh look, she's right here. I can't believe you were freaking out over... Oh, that's not yours? Well, we won't be needing this then. Oh, yours is the one at the beginning of the level. Yeah, no, sure. Let me just deliver this to you real quick. Okay, fine. Let's try that again. Let me transport your child to you. Here's your kid. Dare I say it, we shared some good memories. Can I just have one last goodbye hug for the road? Oh my god, why are you attacking me? Yolanda, no. Yolanda, be cool. I hate that penguin. Aside from that, I loved playing this level, and for that reason, the song that went with this world left an imprint on my delicate little child brain. So, I thought it would only be fit to remix it. First steps of remixing this classic is to get my hands a hold of the MIDI notes for the song. At this point, it was noticeable that the notes provided were played live since they weren't perfectly quantized. Most likely this was done by the fan who distributed the MIDI files, but I would personally like to think that these were pulled directly from the original recordings of the soundtrack, because that means I'm secondhand collaborating with Koji Kondo himself, and that makes me happy. Next step is to picture what my remix will be like. I was envisioning progressive house style because I was looking up remixes of the soundtrack and came across a remix of Dire Dire Docks by an artist named Wisp. And this is actually one of my favorite songs now, no joke. This particular remix is outstanding, and so is the rest of their discography. Discography. So as someone who gives credit where credit is due, I will admit I was heavily inspired by Wisp to produce a similar style remix for a different Mario 64 song. So huge shout out to Wisp. Check out their stuff here by clicking in the top right corner. I highly recommend it. Now, onto creating the remix. My foundation will be the bread and butter of any progressive house track, the kicks. I found a few samples I enjoyed and I mashed them together, being sure to EQ them and balance their audio levels to my liking. It's crucial to note that a little goes a long way in terms of low ends with your kick drums, and it can be incredibly easy to accidentally produce the epicenter of an earthquake with your kicks if you're not too careful. Layer a snappy cymbal over top of the kicks so that each instance of your drum works as one cohesive unit. Later, in the second half of the drop, I added in some hi-hats in the following pattern, as well as some snap samples, EQing and adding reverb to create a bright, saturated sound. Moving onwards, I decided to tackle the bass line, and this is comprised of 3 different layers. A sub bass for the lowest of low ends, a mid-range gritty bass to add punchiness, and a top layer of higher bass to add a slight accent. Next, I figured it was time to add in the melody by creating multiple layers of synths. These are the elements you distinguish the most, as they cover the widest frequency range, but this can probably be said for most songs with a halfway decent melody, so we're perfectly average so far. However, the beauty of this song is there are also some other leads that occasionally chime in, and I figured the perfect way to represent the childish nature of this game is to portray these elements as a xylophone-y light bell ding. Then I wanted to add in some background elements to subtly fill in any gaps we may not have actively covered. The perfect solution for this is a stack of super saws. Finally, wrapping up my drop, I wanted to add in some layers of effects, mostly including bursts of white noise, risers, and some crashing sounds. Now, my drop is done, and I went to work on the intro / build-up. These are actually the same segment of the song, and there really isn't a build-up per se. As I mentioned earlier, I was inspired by Wisp's remix, which didn't really have a formal build-up. I enjoyed how the song simply played out and then all of a sudden burst into the drop, and I wanted to replicate that here. So to do so, I created 2 layers of chord stacks as a starting point. One plays a plucky melody that has an old-timey cartoon idle animation bouncy feel. You know what I mean? The other plays an icy pluck that I felt like contributed to the theme of the song. I automated both of these to gradually fade in during the intro and a wee bit out right before the drop. Speaking of the ice-cold theme of the song, I also added in 2 samples that played during this intro, one being a light cymbal crash that I panned a little bit to the right side, and the other being jingle bells, panned the same amount to the left. Together, these create a wide, wintry wonderland of sounds. I wanted to include the same melody as used in the drop, but didn't want to copy the same synths, as I felt like that would take away the punchiness of the chorus. So I created new leads and gradually faded those out as I faded in the drop leads over the course of the quote-unquote build-up. I also decided to use the same childish ding leads in the drop, but this time cut off by a low-pass filter to only include a portion of their overall sound. Altogether, the intro sounds fun by itself, but also teases the listener about what's to come during the drop. Oh, and don't forget that Prida snare. Have a listen. And there you have it. I think this one turned out really well. I'm pleasantly surprised with the result. If you want to support my work, you can stream the full version on SoundCloud, and if you want to be a complete saint, purchase it on Bandcamp. Sometime soon I'll be adding this to other streaming sites like Spotify, maybe. who knows. If you want to contribute to my work, then leave a comment requesting another video game for me to remix, or follow me on Twitter to participate in polls I put out, like this last one. Oh look, Mario wasn't the top result, but that's what I did anyways. Alright, yeah, okay, I use this as a suggestion and not as a binding contract, but like, I took into account the amount of votes, okay? It's whatever. Oh wow, we're at the end card already. Click the logo in the middle of my screen to subscribe to catch future videos like this, or click the video on the top right corner to watch me remix The Legend of Zelda. Also, click the video on the bottom right to watch whatever I put there, because I haven't planned that far ahead. Oh, what? My 20 seconds are up. Well, but I didn't get a chance to say those